Ready. Welcome everyone to our raw and uncut version where you get to see the good, the bad, and the not so ugly, and even kind of a funny little joke. But this is our raw and uncut version. And Shawn, tell us, what are we going to cover?
Well, we are talking about an interesting study that showed how moving from an SDR to an account executive is a very difficult challenge. So I think that Dianna and I are actually going to create a series of these where we talk about what skill set and what training and what can help move from an SDR to an AE role. But today we're talking about that first step, which is mindset and shifting your mindset so that you believe that you can be successful. So, all right.
And no warmed over porridge. There will be no wind beneath your wings. Pay attention.
I cried so hard in that movie. Oh my God. And beach leaf. Anyway, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. But make sure you're going to bawl your head off. It's just that good. Anyway, okay.
But that's not this show. Go watch.
Go watch the raw and uncut version. This is the raw and uncut intro to the raw and uncut version.
We don't know what's going to come out of our mouths. What's going to happen to our hair?
We're recording now.
We're recording. Yeah, I was just mentioning how much I love your nail polish.
Yes, it's an OPI color. You don't know Jacques.
You don't know Jacques. Oh my God, OPI has the best colors. My favorite for my toes is an affair in red square.
Oh, I like that.
I know, it's very sexy.
Yeah, and I have a new coffee mug. It's llamas.
It's llamas.
I'm in love. And then whenever I drain it, I'll show you there's a llama inside.
There's a llama inside.
So happy. I don't
See, that's what I really want. So we're going to do these mugs, right, that say, what would the Irreverent Sales Girl do or whatever. But I wanted to say Irreverent Sales Girl. And then around the inside of the rim, I wanted to say, what would the Irreverent Sales Girl do? Because it's more fun.
Right.
To have something printed on the inside of your cup.
Exactly. Well, I haven't found that option yet, but we're going to keep looking. Oh my goodness. All right. So let's do a little quick rundown. What's going on? How was your sales week going? What have you done? You're always impressed. You're crazy impressive. How are your numbers?
Okay. I'm going to tell you because I couldn't tell you last week because I
rose right when it was like, we cut to commercial right when you were about to tell me something super exciting.
It says my internet connection is unstable. Is that better?
Yes. I mean,
okay.
We're both unstable, but let's.
Yeah, well, that's part of what makes the show so great. It's fun to listen to balanced, stable people. And our internet is a match for us. So I got ink on paper last week for, first of all, a 5-figure deal with a major internet company that you can never close business with that starts with a G and ends with an E.
Wow.
I know. I know. You cannot get business with these people, including there's another one that's a really big internet company that starts with an F and ends with a K, and you can never get business with them. I've never gotten business with them, but I did get business with G and an E. And then for one of my clients, I closed a $99,800 deal.
Oh my God.
We quoted at 102 and they're like, you got to bring it under. And I'm like, no, I want the 6-figure sale. But so we took something out. Of course, we did not discount. We took something out.
Very cool.
Anyway.
I will give you $200 just to make that a $100,000 deal. That was so cool.
I have to tell you, my client is very, very happy about that turn of events.
And I think I know which client that is.
You might.
Because somebody said something about something, and I think I know who that client is. No, that is fantastic. You do great work. That is so cool. It's
so cool. And then I brought on another client that I'm really excited about because for my clients, I'm either opening conversations or I'm doing cold to close. But this particular client that's coming on, which is kind of leads into what I want to talk about today, is actually setting up appointments for me. So they've got somebody else setting appointments and I'm going to be the closer, which is my managing the pipeline mid to end is my favorite part of sales. So, hopefully I've still got some chops there and it'll work out, but I'm really excited about that.
I'm sure you do. Awesome. Okay.
So what about you?
Things are just great. I've just got back. So let's see, last time we talked, I was in Orlando.
Yeah.
And then I just got back from Nashville last night. So same client, BB King's Blues Club. And it's just so cool, which is neat because they have 3 venues in Orlando. In Nashville, they have 1 venue, and it's next to all the honky tonks. And then we're really talking about how you sell this. And it's, talking about selling it to convention folks, saying, BB King's in the blues is a different flavor of the South. And it was so much fun to talk to them about how to position it and to sell it. It's not like all the other honky tonks, and just really using specific words. And then I have to tell you, this place is freaking amazing. And it's in this, building built in the 1800s. And it's such a textural experience to walk in, and there's all this exposed brick, and they've got it decorated with these ancient wood doors, and then there's all the real colorful art on the wall. And blues is so chill. It's such a different vibe. And then there's the food. The food is phenomenal.
Right.
Phenomenal. I had a burger yesterday. They call it the Debris Burger, and this is available at all their locations. So it's a burger patty, and then they put what they call debris sauce on it, which is, imagine the most amazing pot roast you've ever had in your life.
Oh, the scrapings.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. It's like that concentrated pot roast bits and caramelized onion goop on top. They covered it in cheese. I mean, I could only eat half of it. It was so good.
Oh my God, I would love that. And that alone is the sales point right there.
Yeah. So anyway, but it's so nice that you go, and whenever I go and travel there, they feed me, and they want to, take care of me. And it's just, it's good to have good clients. So that's awesome. I've got next week, Sunday, I leave for New Orleans. So I'll get to go experience it. And they're all different too. All the venues you got the history and the background of the blues, but then you've got like the location and just all the neat things that they could do for clients when they get there. So it's really cool to be able to work with their sales teams on how to position and sell a venue. And you're selling experience, which is, other than the food, it's really truly an intangible.
I will tell you, I have lived in some really great food places. I mean, like, I've lived in San Francisco, which is, a huge foodie place. And I've traveled a lot in New York. I live near Chicago, but man, I would be humongous if I lived in New Orleans. That food is irresistible.
I know.
I've still never even walked into that beignet shop because I'm like, I would be, you would never find me again. Yeah, I would never recover.
My hotel is just like 2 blocks away from Cafe Du Monde.
No, that would not work at all for me, because that's not even a long enough walk to walk off any, it's just, I would be on the floor in the corner, drooling, crying.
Have you been to New Orleans though?
Yes, a few times, and it's just dangerous. The food everywhere is.
The food is really good. And around the other corner, I'm also real close to City Grocery, which has the best muffalata I've ever had in my life. You know what? So, in the comments, if you're watching this, tell us your favorite food places.
Yes.
And then we need to go find clients there.
Right. Right. Exactly.
That's my whole goal in life, to find clients that'll feed me in these places. Oh my God.
Oh, I love that. I just love that.
All right. What are we going to talk about today?
Okay. Well, it's totally up to you, but one of the things that I wanted to talk about was, I don't know if you read that article that I sent you yesterday from the Bridge Group that talks about how the intense failure rate of people who go from SDR to account executive. And I was horrified because you are our people. Mm-hmm. So, I thought it would be really good. We've been doing a lot of shows about how to open conversations and fill the top of the funnel. But I think it would be a really good idea to talk about some of the chops that you need when you move into that account executive role so that you can be successful. Because that's where you're going to make your move from 5 to 6. So
yes. Okay.
That's one thing there's a lot of topics in there, but I thought maybe we talk about either mindset or pipeline management, whichever one you want first.
I am game for that. I think that can take the whole show.
Do you like pipeline management better, or do you like mindset better?
I like mindset better because I think that you have to have that because it's about that your mindset will tell you how you're going to manage a pipeline.
Okay, but no warmed over porridge. There's a lot of fluffy stuff out there about mindset, and I want you to there will be no warmed over porridge on this show. Okay, I love it. All right, well, let's do that. I have a little joke that we can tell to start, but I won't give it away. All right, you want to, I'll start, right?
Yes.
Okay. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the SellOut Show, where we are always sold out. I am Dianna Guerin. I am the irreverent sales girl, where my mission is to bring a dash of dignity to the art of selling.
Hi, Dianna. Hello, everyone. I'm Shawn Sandy. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer of the Selling Agency, where we coach humans how to sell to other humans. Because if you're selling like that little attention-hungry moon and you go in front of the sun, you are going to eclipse your customers and they are not going to do business with you.
That's so good. Oh my God.
I'm sure you've been in meetings like that where you're part of a meeting where someone comes in and they just absolutely like grab all the attention or even just suck all the air out of the room as a salesperson. And you're like, I don't want to do business with you. I've known those people.
Yeah. So do you do business with them or do you like manage it?
No, this was more of being sort of bystander. I did happen to go, I had one office products partner. Oh gosh, I should have said that. I had one person that I would go sell with, and they did this on occasion, but they did it more from a not from a, I'm going to be a really incredible salesperson, but more from a personal attention. I have a personal relationship. I'm just going to go and block out the sun.
Right.
No, I didn't go on very many calls with that person, but yeah.
I don't like that at all. No, I mean, that's the thing. When you're a salesperson, it's not about you at all.
Mm-mm.
Like at all.
Like
at all. I always thought, the more that it's about me, the less money I make on this contract. It's a really good way to take yourself out of that place.
I like to think, yeah, that's a good way to think about it. Okay.
And nobody owes you anything.
No. All right.
So I have a joke.
The topic. Oh, wait.
Okay. Wait, the topic. Right. You tell the topic. What are we going to talk about today?
What are we going to talk about today? Okay. So what sort of chops do you need to take business from open introduction, but through close, and then to be an AE, you're juggling all those different things. Being an account executive, you've got so many balls in the air. How do you figure out how to stay in the moment? How do you figure out how to stay on track? We're going to talk about mindset for account executives today. Did I get that right?
I think it's perfect. And this all came, I'll make sure that we put the article in the comments. This all came from this article that I read yesterday by the Bridge Group, which has amazing research, by the way, that talks about the failure rate of people who move from a sales development role into account executive. And I mean, it's high. If you move internally, it's average of 26% failure rate. So here you are, schlepping it out with a company, you're a sales development rep. Then you get this great promotion to account executive, and 1 out of every 4 of you fails. Terrible. Worse, if you move from a sales development role into an account executive role somewhere else, the average failure rate was 41%. So I just really think that people are not getting the training it's great to be able to open a conversation, but once you've opened it, you got to know what to do with it. So we're going to talk about, I think, this will cover a number of different episodes, but the first one we're going to talk about is how you shift your mindset from sales development to account executives. Mm-hmm. But first, a joke, which you're never supposed to tell that you're going to say a joke or else everybody's like, it's not even funny. But anyway, so what do you call a blonde who dyes her hair brunette?
I don't know.
Artificial intelligence. Since AI is the topic of the day, I thought you'd enjoy that.
Yeah. I've never heard any blonde jokes.
Oh my gosh. Your face is so good. to that. Okay. That was a moment. That was really good. Okay, good. Well, there you go. So,
why do blondes wear shoulder pads?
Why?
I don't know.
Oh my God. We could go on. All right. This camera thing is hilarious. Okay, good. So,
all right. Well,
mindset. So what do you think about mindset? What do you think is the mindset of a sales development rep who's successful? And what do you think needs to shift to become an account executive?
Well, I think that, if I had to guess at where this was going, I almost think that first we need to address that you're hiring two different personality types.
Yeah.
And with different skill sets. And then maybe later on we talk about the coaching that needs to occur to bridge the gap between those two different personality types and skill sets. I'd really love to see, hey Trish, could you do some research on what are the personality characteristics of successful SDRs compared to personality characteristics of successful account executives? Because if I had to guess, I'd say they're almost two sides of the coin. Great SDRs are able to stay really do their job parameters are more defined than an account executive, right? Do research, get them on the phone, execute emails, do research. I mean, I'm simplifying that tremendously, but it is it's almost like having a more tighter scope of work that you're doing, I think, as an SDR. Would you say that's fair?
Well, yeah. I mean, what you just said of how your day looks and how you win as a sales development rep is to just get the numbers, like the dials, the numbers, obviously there's a quality aspect that makes a big difference, but you're right. Quantity is like the king in the world of sales development rep. And that's very different than an account executive. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to give you an example. So my husband, for instance, I think he would be an awesome SDR. He is an optometrist and he does charts. He sees patients. He does the notes. And I mean, he does essentially the same thing every single day with different people, same jokes, different people.
But hopefully it's different people, right?
Right. He is absolutely happy as a pig in mud doing that. He likes the repetition. It's different people, and it's not like the same. It's not like Groundhog Day, certainly, but he likes the repetition, the structure. He's constantly busy, and that's how his day progresses. Whereas me, I love that. Other than my morning routine of getting up, showering, brushing teeth, hair, makeup, every day is different for me. And I love that. And how you manage that and how you thrive in that is very different than someone who thrives in that structure. So I almost think they're two different personality types. And that could be a big reason for the failure. If someone does not have the interpersonal wherewithal to do that. I mean, is that
I think you're exactly right. I mean, so this is the first time in my life that I've really been in sort of a sales development role. Part of my business is sort of sales development role for my clients, right? To set up appointments for them. And, one of the things that I've noticed is there's a big difference in how I get most successful when I'm on the phone with somebody as that person that's setting the appointment is really to take on having an assistant mindset. When I was coming up through account executive, we didn't call people SDRs or BDRs.
Right.
We called them sales assistants. I mean, the people that were setting my appointments for me was my sales assistant. And there's a really beautiful thing about being a sales assistant because there's nothing to sort of, there's just not as much, it's just not as personal to get rejected, right? Because you're only calling for your boss. I mean, there's nothing over here that you have to be worried about. I'm just calling for my boss because she wants an appointment with you. What's your problem? Why would you be mean to me? My boss asked me to set an appointment with you. Don't be a jerk. So, but there's a difference, right? So what do you think of that? I mean, do you think that's right? I mean, that's how I win that game.
Yeah, it's just less pressure. Like, well, that's sort of like, it's what's the end goal. If the end goal, when you're getting on the phone, you're nervously punching in the numbers because everything depends on this call, whether I get the order or not, versus I'm going to try and, start a conversation with somebody. That's an entirely different thing. And so I think that makes total sense to me.
Yeah, and here's the thing: there are a lot of people that are watching this that don't even understand, like, what do we mean by sales development? So it could be a sales assistant, or it could be that you're responsible for cold to close, which means you got to get good at all of this. You've got to learn how to set an appointment for yourself, and that's, I think, where the mindset shift comes into play. But what do you say is the difference of the mindset between somebody who's a sales assistant and I hope I'm not offending anybody, but it's kind of what it is. And you're going to be replaced by blondes who have become brunettes. I mean, artificial intelligence is going to replace, but I think it's really critical that people who want to be in sales for the long term and move to solid six start to understand what this shift is.
Right.
What do you think it is?
I've just been, all my clients right now fulfill more of an account executive capacity, in that they don't just or only do the early opening conversation stages and stuff. So, I was just, especially like down in Orlando with the sales guy, they're handling everything from inquiries, responding to inquiries, pre-qualifying leads, to doing site visits, to creating proposals, to one girl yesterday and now she's like, I need different bands, I need to go find the bands for these venues, they want a different so-and-so, and then you've got they're helping pitch in, set up for the event, make sure the details are right so that their delivery to the customer is great so that they come back, and then if not, we have to do this and we have to collect the billing and stuff. And so you heard in a long time in sales that being in sales is like being an entrepreneur. Your book of business is like a small business. And I think that is very different than an SDR role. Did that study give any specific reasons as to did they categorize why they thought that failure rate was so high?
Yeah, so it was just the start, right? So this was kind of a raw data thing that sort of, I actually think it was Matt Bertuzzi, Trish's son, that sort of put this guy, which I love this guy because he's such a data nerd, right? I love him. But so he just kind of like was digging into the numbers. What was interesting that he found is that it mattered a lot how long the person had been in the sales development role. So if they'd been in the role for under 11 months, then their failure rate was over 50%, like in the world of 55%. But if they'd been in the sales development role for 16 plus months, it went significantly down to only about 6%, which is actually, I think you'd expect that, right? So, so his premise, and of course he's a data nerd, so he would never say what the real thing was, but what he thinks is that, people just aren't being given enough time to really develop their chops before they're kind of thrown out into the field. So I think that that's where he's going with it, but I think that kind of makes sense. I mean, I think that kind of makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How are you doing at 24 selling? Do you know what I mean? 25 years old selling. I mean, it took a little while to get your chops up, right?
I was almost at six figures at age 24, but you can't do that anymore in TV. I mean, that was like, that was extraordinary in a short time. You just can't do that right now. But so let's talk. So the mindset of an account executive. What are the specific mindset shifts? I think that business ownership one is, if you're the business owner, you are the, front of house, the chief bottle washer, the chef, the garbage taker, outer, and that's kind of what a lot of account executive roles are. You're juggling so many different things that it's a different mindset. You own everything. It's you own it.
Well, so it's perfect what you were saying, and I think we should piggyback on where you're going with the TV station. Look, I mean, you were set up for massive failure. If you'd been somebody that had the mindset of, I'm going to do things the way that, other people are doing them and the way that I've been told to do them or whatever, you would have totally bombed out. But because you were having that mindset of, I call it the CEO of my territory, but I am the owner of my territory, and everything that happens, buck stops here. It made you get creative. Because this was your business, so maybe you can talk a little bit about what that was.
That was a ride or die. That was like, I was going to starve or figure out how to, do this. And so the backstory is, having no true sales experience, and no TV industry experience. I was hired by a station, which is the worst TV station in the market. Really, really terrible ratings. And when you have terrible ratings, no agencies want to buy your station for any dollar amount where you're going to run a TV commercial. You know, like for instance, we could run spots in Good Morning America for $25. You could run a 30-second commercial in Good Morning America for $25 a spot. However, the ratings, agencies.
But no one was watching.
But no one was watching it. And so the ratings, we want to buy spots to reach women 25 to 54, and we're willing to spend, $20 a rating point. I mean, they're like, well, you get $15 for this spot. I mean, so it's really hard to work with agencies when you have nothing they value. You have nothing they value.
Right.
So I realized it was very different. I had to find people not who wanted to buy ratings. I had to find people who wanted to be on TV. Those were two very different things.
Big deal. Yeah.
Yeah. So I set about building my business, and it wasn't, so you could say, well, you were selling a crappy product. Well, I mean, it wasn't crappy for everyone. It was
a product. You were selling a product.
Right.
That was crappy for some people and not crappy for others. Exactly.
Yeah. You could look at it from the point of view of, well, I mean, agencies didn't find it valuable, but the people who couldn't afford the other stations found it very valuable because they wanted to be on TV. So I got really creative. I got inventive. I covered, that's how I know every inch of this city upside down, inside and backwards. And still to this day, I have the habit of driving around looking to see what's new, what businesses, what offices, what retail places are new. And just the first one to get there and to talk them into doing TV. It was, hell, I even wrote out, if someone was open to the idea, but they didn't have an idea for how to advertise, I wrote out commercials. I wrote out scripts. I helped plan production. I would do the voiceover. I
did hair and makeup.
Yeah. Right? Whatever I had to do, again, like your own business, to get it done. So that was sort of the mindset, was whatever I have to do to get it done and to get these people on TV, I'm going to do that. And it worked very well.
Well, see, I think that's something that the really hot sales development reps can take into an account executive is you've figured out how to do whatever it takes to get 350 dials in a week, which, more power to you, because that is intense physical stuff. And if you can bring that mentality of, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get the numbers done and the numbers on the board, I'm going to get creative. Like our guest from Vidyard is super duper creative, and he's cracked some codes too. But if you can take that mentality of, I'm going to crack the code, even if it means doing the hair and makeup for your client to get them on TV, then that's the mentality that will win you tons of business as an account executive. Tons.
Yeah. And I think that too, if you go back to mindset too, I have seen some salespeople who want to have the results, but deep down in earnest, they don't believe that they can get there. They don't believe in their own power to change what's happening to get to the results. And I think if I can, when I meet salespeople for my clients, they're already hired. And a lot of my job is to suss out, is this the right person in the right seat? Do we really have the right sales team here? And one of the first things I look for is, do they believe that they can achieve the results?
Yeah. Do
they believe that they can impact and be successful? Or, have we taken the road and the fork in the road into excuses? It's, something else is the problem, or the world's against me, that kind of stuff.
Well, one of the most obnoxious things that I say as the irreverent sales girl is, how to be number one in sales is decide that you're going to be number one and then go do whatever it takes to be number one. I mean, but what do you do with people? I mean, and this is a mind game that you've got to be straight with yourself. Do you know what I mean? Because you can be there saying, oh yeah, I believe, but inside that voice is telling you, no way, Jose. So how do you deal with that voice? Like in reality, how do you get that out on the table?
Yeah, there are not a lot of times where I have seen that someone can take that, negative Nancy, or, downtrodden Dave, whatever, that that voice in their head, or that belief that self-defeating belief, and turn it around. It's a very, very hard thing to do. Sometimes it's sour grapes because, we've talked about this in the sour grapes episode, where, your company has broken trust, or they've just not been able to deliver and execute, and they've broken your trust with your customers, and you don't have faith in them. That's different. Yeah. But there's two things I think you could do if you feel like you have a little bit of that imposter syndrome and you're not able to impact your results. And so the first thing is, go back to a time where you did achieve something, where you either worked hard, you overcame odds, or, go back to that feeling, like relive it, talk about it, grab a friend or a therapist or somebody at Starbucks, whatever. And then that's the
some random stranger. I need you to Starbucks with me.
Yeah, or a stranger on an airplane or something. And then the second thing is,
actually, that works. I've done that before. I'm sorry for those people that have done that too. But yeah. Anyway, please continue. So sorry.
Well, and then the second thing is, set yourself up to do something that you can achieve and conquer.
Yes.
To challenge yourself. Say, okay, well, I'm going to, in 1 week's time, I'm going to build up to be able to run to a mile, or whatever that is. Give yourself a goal and a challenge that you can achieve. And that can help sort of reset some internal mindset, shifts to where you believe that you can achieve something and you can impact an outcome. So that's, doing that, you're still going to continue to struggle in your job if that's your role. So it's hard to turn things around. If you look at some of the most fantastic salespeople we know, none of them struggle with confidence. They believe
no.
Yeah, they believe that they can impact the outcome, and then they do.
Well, and I think a lot of that confidence comes from, there is no substitute for being in action. Because the more at bats you give yourself, the more opportunities you're going to have to, whiff. But every now and then you'll hit the ball and it'll go past the first baseman and you'll be like, whoa, what just happened there? So I think at bats are important. But I also think, I think people are really smart. I think that everybody has a natural genius. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you talk about natural genius. I love that.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I want you, if you're in that situation where you're in a role in sales and you really just can't see that you could be number one, or you can't see that you could be the six figure, I want you to think, why? What's behind that? Because you can't get to six figures in every role. And you can't get to six figures selling just anything. I was once, one of my very first gigs in sales, I was really smart. I realized that the company had to be making more money from my efforts than they were paying me if this gig was going to work out, right? And it was sort of an experiment. I mean,
it's a good business philosophy.
The lights go on, right? But I was in this role, and I was the top performer out of 103 of us, right? And this was kind of an experiment. I was a manufacturer's rep for an automotive company, which I loved. It was so much fun. But I started looking around and I was like, okay, so because I'm here, the dealerships that I'm responsible for are selling this many more cars than they would otherwise. And the profit margin on the cars is this, because I found this out from the dealers. Mm-hmm. And I'm outperforming everybody. And I'm still not covering my salary. Mm. So I'm like, this is going to be over, right? This experiment is going to be over. So I started looking for another job. I applied for grad school, and lo and behold, 3 months later, they closed the program because it's not profitable, and people were surprised. And they had nowhere to go, and they hadn't done it. Do you know what I mean? I'm not trying to look like I'm like, woo, but look, you've got to get some business chops. And when you are the account executive, we talk about how you eat what you kill, and you do, but look around you. The entire company eats what you kill, right? So if you're not producing at the ability to feed everybody, you may be on the wrong, maybe you're on the wrong bus. Maybe you need to go find another job where there is a product. Read Lee Bartlett's #1 bestseller, How He Chooses a Product to Sell. Because anyway, that's my rant, but you got to get smart about the money that you're producing, and if it's getting the job done, and if it's not, find somewhere else or figure out a way to make the money. So there you go. That's all.
No, you talk about that too. I think specifically as an account executive, more so than SDR, if you're an SDR or BDR, you're just in those early stages, but having that business acumen to understand how financial decisions impact the customers that you're working with, to everything from the finance and accounting to operations, that is so smart. Go out and go get a business degree, whether it's, your own doing via, Google University or podcasts or books or whatever, business degree, and understand exactly how financial decisions, where are you in the food chain of your customer? Are you someone that investing in you helps them make money, helps them be more productive, helps them be safer? And what are the costs there? What are those costs there? Cost savings, margin profit increase. I mean, you really have to do that. So
I think that I had this even written down. It's so perfect that you're saying this, but I think one of our next episodes, I'd like to cover the top 4 business tools that I use to challenge a sale. So their ROI, total cost of ownership, highest and best use, and there's another one. We'll come up with it. But I think it'd be really cool to cover some of these business ideas, because it's great, go get a degree or whatever, but start with just the tippy top ones.
Right.
But one last thing about mindset, and I think this is really important. But one last thing from me, I want to hear everything from you. But one thing that really I noticed set me apart for the 12 years that I was doing software as a service, out of 11 years, I was the number 1 salesperson in this role. And every year we would present to the company what our annual plan was for our territory, right? So we would present to the company, we would talk about what had happened, what our goals were, if we hit them or not, and why. And every time when I had something to present, I would talk about what happened last year, and if we did hit the numbers in my territory, why, and if we didn't hit them, why. And the why was always opportunities that I'd met, if I didn't meet the goal of particular things, it was because of an opportunity that I missed, or a way that I'd learned to look at my territory different, or, and everybody else was like, well, new competition and the economy and the buyer cycle's longer. As the CEO of your company, you don't get to have excuses. It's all on you.
I like that. As the CEO of your company, you do not get to have excuses.
You don't.
Yeah. Well, I have one last thing to say about mindset.
Yes.
I've just listened to this book on Audible by, her name is Jen Sincero. And she has a book, it's called You Are a Badass. And something. Or how to stop doubting your greatness, I think is what it is. But it's so quippy and so funny. And it starts out where she shares about how she didn't believe that she was a badass, and she didn't believe that she could be successful, and she didn't believe that she would have, money and wealth and stuff. And so it's really interesting. And she's got a lot of, I like it very much because she's got a lot of sound bites, and you know how I love sound bites and
speaking. We love ourselves a sound bite.
And so I just looked for this one. And I want to share it with you. So it says, and the reason we believe it, we can't, this is all fear. It's all fear-based stuff, right? Mm-hmm. But here's what she said about fear. When you succumb to fear, you are under the illusion that you can predict the future. And can we predict the future? No, we can't. However, you can impact the future. Yeah. No, you can't impact the future. And what she spends some other time on this other notion too, I thought was incredible. And you allude to this too. It's not the feelings that are important. And I'm not going to get off on a tangent, but it's not the feelings that are important. It's the action. It's the action that actually makes the memories. It's the action that actually makes, the results. It's not how we feel about it. Mm-hmm. Feel how you want, but then, you can feel like an imposter. You can feel like you're not going to make a difference, but then go freaking do something about it and make it happen. Call somebody. GSD, MSH, get shit done, make stuff happen.
I love it. Okay. Well, I just think that was brilliant though. Every time that you're in fear, you think that you can predict because we really actually do think we can predict the future. Yeah.
Those worst case scenarios love to just sort of flood your head. I'm not going to make budget. They're going to say no. Why should I make another call? Yeah. So account executives, I spend a lot of time with folks helping them figure out how to divide, conquer, manage, organize, all that, the different pieces of productivity that go into being an account executive. So I think that would be a good topic to go into later, and how you divide and tackle. I actually write a ton about that on productivity hacks, and Jill Conrad's book, More Sales, Less Time. I mean, I think that not having enough time is the plague of the account executive, and Jill probably said it much more eloquently than that. But that is worth investigating. And if you are a salesperson, you need to be working on figuring out how to wrangle this stuff, and put your schedule in a headlock and make it work for you. Can you visit it?
And no talk and block on your schedules. Block and tackle. No talk and block.
Right.
Block and tackle. Do it the Shawn Carroll Sandy way.
Block and tackle. Yeah.
Block and tackle.
Oh gosh, yes, so good.
Oh, I think we've started such a cool part of this show. I mean, I can't wait to talk about pipeline and divide and conquer and territory management and
yeah. And if you're an SDR who's moved to an account executive role and are killing it, like, can we not say crushing it? Please don't make me say crushing it. But if you've successfully made that transition, we would love to hear from you. We would love to hear from you as to how did the change work, and do you think that that was personality versus skill? Do you have great training, or was it just? We would love to talk to you. So comment, find us, tweet us, love us,
subscribe.
Okay.
All right, I think we started something magical here. So I'm gonna kick us out by saying, stop hoping
and start selling.
That's right.
Bye.
Bye.